Okay, guys, we're back with another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest. This episode is going to be a MCU Phase 3 tier list. Standard tier list. You can see the sections here. At the top, we've got S tier. In this tier list, they call it Stan Lee. Then we've got A, B, C, D, E, and F. And I'm going to go through each film. I'm going to rank them. And that's going to be my MCU Phase 3 tier list. So we're going to kick it off with Spider Man Far From Home. This is going to be a B for me. It's gonna be a B because I liked the film, whereas I thought it was a decent film. I liked Mysterio. I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was a bit of a weird casting, but when you're watching it and you see the sort of angle and direction they take that character of Mysterio, it does sort of fit with Jake Gyllenhaal a bit more, right? But in my head, he's not my ideal Mysterio, and sort of the way they even did that whole storyline with Mysterio and him being the villain, um, it was good. It was okay. And Tom Holland puts in a decent performance here. He's pretty charming as far as Spider-Man go. It was a good performance. I think his first film was probably a bit better, but this film felt like a natural progression from that. It was a decent film, so yeah, Far From Home is going to go in the B tier. Then we've got Avengers: Infinity War. Without a doubt, this goes Stanley. This is peak cinema, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. This is my top five film of all time. It's up there. Top five films of all time. Infinity War is just the absolute perfect culmination of the first three phases of the MCU. Right? You've got Thanos coming down. He beats everyone up, and he actually by the end of the film he actually wins. Right? He actually wins, and it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing having a villain actually win a movie. Whereas always it feels like, okay, by the end, the villain gets beat and the heroes win, problems resolved. No, the problem was not resolved. Thanos won this. They put up their best guys they had, and Thanos washed them all. Washed them all. So yeah, Avengers Infinity War, one of my favourite films ever, and that's going S tier slash Stan Lee. Then we've got Thor Ragnarok here. This again is probably an A tier film. In terms of the Thor films, 100% the best Thor film ever made, and in a lot of ways, sort of encapsulated what the MCU would sort of become. This was like the original post, Phase 3, what the MCU would become. A lot of comedy, um, a decent story, but a lot of comedy. But this really felt like this was one of the few times the MCU really struck or caught lightning in a bottle, right? Where everything just worked. The comedy worked. The casting was good. The Hulk and Thor dynamic was good. Thor and Loki's dynamic was good. And the chick the chick who should be female Thor, the black chick, their dynamic was good as well. And felt like a nice progression following Hulk being taken off Earth for Age of Ultron. But really good film, and the director Taika Waititi, if that's what his name, like this was he caught lightning in a bottle in this film. He would never do it again. And we saw with Thor 4 that was an awful film, but he couldn't leave well enough alone, and he made Thor 4. But this was a really good film, and deservedly is A tier. Then you've got Civil War. Again, Civil War is A tier as well. Now, Civil War, in my opinion, should have been a two-parter. If they had done a Civil War Part 1, Civil War Part 2, then the Civil War storyline collectively would be in the S tier. But they didn't. At the time, I felt like, why would you even make this a Captain America film? This is basically an Avengers film. So for a long time, this made me rate it a bit lower because it's not a Captain America film. It's not, it's an Avengers film, right? But then you take it for what it is, and you see how that build up leads into Infinity War, where you've still got a bit of unease between Cap and Tony, but it gets to a point where like we're all gonna die if we don't team up. And to be fair, they do team up, and they still do die. Um, but Civil War, yeah, was a good film. Introduced us to some more characters. Introduced Spider Man into the MCU. That was good. He didn't play a huge role, but again, somewhat of an iconic moment. Some decent fight scenes, but again, like I said, it felt rushed, um, and I felt they could have just done more with it. If it was a two-parter, like I said, 100% would be an S tier. But nonetheless, still a very good film and a film that is very enjoyable. But I'm gonna put it in the A tier. Then we've got what have we got here? This is Infinity War. Yeah, Infinity War. Infinity War's not S tier. Infinity War is A tier because it's got the amazing, iconic fight scene at the end. Avengers Assemble, amazing, one of the best scenes in all of the MCU. But unfortunately, because they f about a lot and they basically undo a lot of the good work that was done in Infinity War, so it can't be the same level as Infinity War, right? But Endgame was again another great film, and naturally ended off Phase Three, and was a great way to end Phase Three. A lot of people, including myself, saying you should have just finished the MCU with that because again, you can't raise the stakes anymore. And we've seen that where a lot of people have just checked out from it now, where they've made so many bad movies, so many boring movies, so many films that at the end of it you just feel like you've just wasted your time, right? But Endgame was one of the last great MCU films, and ended off MCU Phase Three brilliantly. And they should have ended the MCU as a whole there. But Infinity War was a great film, not as good as Endgame was a great film, not as good as Infinity War, so it's going in the A tier. Captain Marvel is going D tier. I mean, I would argue if you put this F tier because I've not even seen this film, right? I can't even give you a mad informed opinion on it. I haven't seen it. I know it made a lot of money, but it came out just after Endgame or just after Infinity War between those films. So anything the MCU touched basically was going to turn to gold. The MCU couldn't miss at this point. So you can't really look at the financial performance and be like, oh, it made this much money, so it must be a good film. No. Do you know what I mean? Not really. But I've never seen it, so I can't give an informed opinion. Black Panther was, for some reason, at the time, had loads of hype around it. And to be fair, had some good scenes. I'm putting it in the B tier, arguably had one of the best MCU villains of all time with Killmonger. Michael B. Jordan's character was an amazing villain in this. And I did actually like some of the politics and the history around Wakanda and, you know, bloodlines and stuff like that. It was pretty interesting to me. Of course, not on the level of Civil War, Endgame, or Thor Ragnarok. So it's the tier below. So I'm putting it in the B tier. Then we've got Doctor Strange. Again, in my opinion, Doctor Strange, one of my favourite MCU characters, one of my favourite MCU films as well. It's going A tier. Amazing visuals with this film. A film that came out just under 10 years ago. Amazing visuals. Amazing characters, in my opinion, as well. Actually, maybe not amazing characters. A couple of amazing characters. Basically, Doctor Strange and the Ancient One. They're basically the only two good characters in this film, but their dynamic works. And I really like Benedict Cumberbatch as the casting for Stephen Strange, and he does a really good job. And it's a film that I've watched back many times and I've really enjoyed. So I'm putting it in the A tier. Then we've got Guardians Volume 2. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this C tier. I'm gonna put this C tier because even though it's an enjoyable film, it's markedly a downgrade from the first film, in my opinion. Definitely still had some good moments, but if I was scrolling on Disney Plus and I see all of these films, I'm picking all of these films before I pick Guardians 2. I'm picking Far From Home, I'm picking Black Panther, I'm picking Civil War, I'm picking Endgame, I'm picking Infinity War, all before I pick Guardians 2. So I'm putting Guardians 2 at C tier. Then we've got Spider Man Homecoming. I'm putting that in B tier as well. Even though I actually do think this is a. It says, I don't know. Because the villain in Mysterio is a good villain, but this was a nice way to introduce Spider Man into the MCU with Homecoming. It was a nice way to do it. The only drawbacks is that in this film, he really just feels like Iron Man Jr., where he's just Tony's little. I don't even want. I don't know even what I could say. He's just his little friend, isn't it? That's just give him his little pass me downs, hand me downs. Give him his little hand me downs. This tech I don't want anymore. You can have it, bro. Give it to him. But yeah, an interesting way to introduce him to the MCU. Introduce him with a villain like Vulture, who come across pretty well in my opinion. Michael Keaton as Vulture, really good performance, and I think we probably will see him at some point in the MCU again. I say that we probably won't. We might see him in Sony Spider-Man universe. God knows what they're doing there, but because he's not dead, Michael Keaton's not dead. He's in prison, but really good casting, really good character. I liked that he was essentially scavenging and making a business off of the stuff that happened in Avengers 1. Right? In real time, this film came out only 5 years after Avengers Assemble, the first one. So logically, it makes sense that, you know, the way the world is now, everything's so slow. In New York, 5 years later, there would still be alien tech that's probably still knocking about somewhere, and they're underground, buying it and doing all these things. They're out here, man. Vulture was a good character, underrated, definitely slept on. Then we've got Ant Man and the Wasp, and that's going to go alongside Captain Marvel because I've not seen it, and I've got no intention of wanting to see it either. It's yeah, got no intention of wanting to see that film either. Again, characters like the Wasp, like what are we doing? Why have they got their own movie? And you've not even, I said this in the previous videos, but you've not even got the best version of Ant Man, and then you're putting him with Wasp as well. Come on, bro, we've got better things to be doing. But yeah, that's my MCU Phase 3 tier list. Let's go through it. We've got S tier, we've got Infinity War. No, I would struggle for anyone to argue against Infinity War for me, for it being S tier. Like it's just peak cinema, in my opinion. Like it's just amazing, right? Then you've got the A tier. You've got Thor Ragnarok, Civil War, Endgame, and Doctor Strange in the A tier. Then we've got in the B tier. We've got Far From. Oh, sorry about that. We've got in the B tier Spider Man, Far From Home, and then we've got also Spider Man Homecoming, and then we've got Black Panther as well in the B tier. Then in the C tier, we've got Guardians 2, and then in the F tier are two films that I've not seen and I've got no interest in seeing in Captain Marvel and then Ant Man and the Wasp. Let me know if your guys' tier list would be any different. Let me know if you'd put more films in the S tier. Maybe you'd have less films in the A tier. Be curious to know. And yeah, another episode of the side quest in the bag. And I'll probably be doing a Phase 4 tier list at some point. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And I'm out. Peace.